Imagine standing on Mars. You know, that grand, awe-inspiring dream of human colonization. This vast, red, silent landscape. It's really the ultimate frontier, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But then this huge, often kind of overlooked challenge hits you almost immediately. How on earth do you actually feed people on a planet that's so hostile to life?
It's a monumental hurdle, you're right, and you've nailed the core problem. We're talking about conditions so extreme that, well, trying to farm like we do on Earth just seems impossible.
Impossible how?
Well, for starters, the atmosphere is incredibly thin, less than 1% of Earth's pressure.
Wow.
Then there's the sunlight. It's drastically less intense, only about 43, maybe 44% of the usable light, the PAR, that we get here. And on top of that, you get these planet-encircling dust storms that can last for months and block out even that meager sunlight.
And water isn't just readily available, is it? No rivers, no lakes?
Not at all. It's locked away, mostly as ice deep underground or at the poles or in these subsurface brines that are incredibly salty. We're talking salinity around 32.5 PSU.
Which is really high, right? Like Great Salt Lake levels are higher.
Exactly. Way too salty for plants directly. But maybe the biggest showstopper, the thing people are really starting to focus on, is the ground itself, the Martian soil.
Right, the regolith.
Yeah, this basaltic regolith. It's not just barren, lacking organics. It's actively toxic.
Toxic how?
Primarily because of perchlorates. These are salts present in concentrations of, say, 0.5% up to maybe 2%.
And those are bad news for us.
Very bad news. They interfere with thyroid function in humans, and they're pretty detrimental to most plant life as we know it. And beyond that toxicity, the regolith is just empty from a nutrient perspective. Virtually no organic matter, and critically, no bioavailable nitrogen. Plants need nitrogen.
So yeah, sounds like a complete non-starter for agriculture, doesn't it?
It really does seem that way if you think conventionally.
Which is why, for this deep dive, we're looking at something really different. A groundbreaking proposal by Shahryar Ghiasi. It's outlined in his paper called SART Farming Because of Mars.
And that title, Farming Because of Mars, that's key. It signals this fundamental shift. This isn't about trying to force Mars to be like Earth.
Okay.
Its genius, Ghiasi argues, is in leveraging Mars's own unique resources, the things it does have, and transforming them. And it does this using what he calls an integrated bioelectrochemical framework.
Bioelectrochemical. Okay, let's unpack that a bit. So, given everything you just said, the thin air, low light, bad water, toxic soil is the usual sci-fi approach of, building giant domes and trying to perfectly replicate Earth conditions. Is that the focus here, or is SART doing something else?
It's doing something fundamentally different. SART pivots completely away from that brute force terraforming or Earth replication idea. Its power lies in what's called a symbiogenic approach.
Symbiogenic.
Yeah, meaning different parts working together synergistically. We're talking engineered microbial communities, electro-synthetic nutrient protection, and synthetic plant symbiosis. They all interact. It's designed to work with the Martian environment, not just fight against it.
Okay, interesting. So it embraces the weirdness of Mars, in a way.
Exactly. It tries to turn Martian liabilities into assets.
So what does this actually look like in practice? How does this symbiogenic approach tackle these, frankly, terrifying challenges? Because we're about to get into some really surprising, almost counterintuitive solutions here, aren't we?
We are. It completely reframes Martian farming.
Like, imagine turning that toxic soil we mentioned not just into something usable, but into something that actually produces breathable oxygen.
Precisely. SART proposes ways to detoxify the regolith and generate oxygen as a byproduct. And then there's this fascinating idea of dark farming.
Dark farming, growing plants without light.
Essentially, yes. Allowing plants to grow using chemical energy sources derived from Martian resources, rather than relying solely or even primarily on sunlight. This tackles the low light and the radiation problem.
Ah, right, the radiation, which is intense on Mars.
Extremely intense. We're talking mutation rates maybe 500 times higher than on Earth. SART incorporates ways to make crops more resistant.
And the efficiency numbers mentioned in the paper are just staggering. Things like, 92% say erythrocycle cycling?
Yeah, 92% nanorecycling, 87% water recovery from those difficult brines we talked about.
87%.
And claims of 30% higher yields compared to trying to grow unmodified crops in regolith simulants under simulated Mars conditions.
That's huge. And what's really intriguing is the idea that these aren't just Mars-only technologies. There could be real applications back here on Earth, couldn't there?
Absolutely. That's one of the most compelling parts of the proposal. Innovations spurred by the extremes of Mars could help us tackle challenges right here.
Okay, so let's circle back as we wrap up this deep dive. Back to that core idea, that philosophy of the SART system.
Yeah.
Farming because of Mars.
Right.
It's really not about fighting the planet, is it? It's about cleverly using what's there, like the atmosphere, which is 96% carbon dioxide, a resource in this context.
Exactly. Using the tellurose, using metals potentially found in the regolith.
While at the same time neutralizing the really dangerous stuff like those perchlorates.
It's this really elegant proposed integration of engineered biology, microbes, plants, and electrochemistry to create a system that aims to be closed-loop and self-sustaining. Taking what looks like a wasteland and designing an ecosystem that actually thrives using the Martian conditions.
Okay, so let's nail down some of those key insights, the real game changers here. One of the biggest has to be tackling that toxic regolith. Can you break down how the engineered biofilm terraforming the EBT module uses microbes to deal with the perchlorates?
Sure. The EBT module relies on specific, likely engineered microbes. The paper mentions candidates like Dechloromonas martianus, a hypothetical name suggesting adaptation to Mars. These microbes essentially eat the perchlorates.
Meet them.
They use them in their metabolism, breaking them down, and the remarkable part is the byproduct. They release oxygen. The paper quantifies this as about 0.8 kilograms of breathable oro generated for every kilogram of perchlorate degraded.
That is incredible, turning poison into air, and it makes the soil safe quickly.
That's the claim. It could potentially reduce the time needed for soil detoxification from, potentially years using other methods down to maybe just weeks. A massive accelerator for establishing habitats.
Mind-blowing. Okay, then there's the dark farming. Sounds so sci-fi. How does the electrosynthetic nutrient production ESNP let plants grow without much or any sun?
Right. This is another revolutionary bit. The ESNP module uses electrochemistry, powered presumably by solar panels or other Martian power sources, to synthesize acetate directly from the HUO in the Martian atmosphere.
Acetate, like vinegar.
Chemically related, yes.
Yeah.
It's a simple organic molecule, a carbon source. This acetate then becomes the primary food, the primary carbon source, for the crops. They're engineered to metabolize it directly.
So they don't need photosynthesis as much or at all.
Exactly. It bypasses the limitations of low sunlight and dust storms. The paper suggests this could lead to, get this, 4 times higher biomass yield for crops like potatoes or rice grown under low-light Martian conditions compared to relying on photosynthesis alone.
4 times.
And crucially, it estimates this requires 90% less energy than trying to provide sufficient light using artificial LEDs. That's a massive energy saving, critical on Mars. You could grow food deep underground, shielded from radiation.
That changes everything. And the resource cycling numbers you mentioned earlier, 92% CO cycling, 87% water recovery. How do they get that water back, especially from the salty brines?
That involves another clever biomineral interaction. The proposal uses cyanobacteria, like Senechococcus, grown in beds of basalt or volcanic rock materials readily available on Mars.
Okay.
This microbial biofilm system is incredibly effective at desalination. The paper claims 87% efficiency in recovering usable water from high salinity sources. Plus, the whole system is designed for extreme recycling. 95% organic waste recycling is mentioned. Closing the loop is paramount.
It has to be. And the crops themselves need to survive the radiation. How does the synthetic plant symbiosis, the SBS module, achieve that?
It involves CRISPR gene editing, tailoring the plants for Mars. They're given genes, like one called AXIAS, which helps them efficiently utilize the acetate from the ESNP module.
Right, the dark farming fuel.
Exactly. But also, crucially, they incorporate genes for radiation tolerance. The paper specifically mentions using proteins like SSD-SUP, which comes from tardigrades, water bears.
Those incredibly tough little creatures.
The very same. This protein is known to protect DNA from damage. Incorporating it into the crops is suggested to reduce radiation-induced double-strand DNA breaks by about 40%.
Wow. And that leads to better growth.
It leads to much healthier plants under Martian radiation levels, contributing to that claimed 30% higher yield in regolith simulants compared to trying to grow unmodified plants under simulated Martian light and radiation.
So it's this whole integrated system, fixing the soil, making food chemically, recycling everything, and hardening the plants.
Amazing.
Beyond just the food production, the sheer science of it.
Yeah.
What about the human element? Do you think having this kind of living soil environment versus purely sterile hydroponics might actually matter psychologically to colonists?
Oh, I think it absolutely matters. That's a really crucial point, often overlooked in purely engineering-focused plans. Working with soil, even engineered soil with microbial life, provides a connection to natural cycles, something living and growing in a familiar way.
A bit of Earth, even if it's Martian Earth.
Kind of, yeah. It fosters a sense of normalcy, maybe combats the sterility and artificiality of a manufactured environment. It contributes to psychological well-being, which is vital for long-duration missions. It makes a habitat feel more like a home, not just a survival pod.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, you mentioned this isn't just pie-in-the-sky Mars tech. How could these SART concepts actually benefit us back here on Earth, maybe even soon?
Well, several ways. Think about land degradation. Those engineered biofilms, the EBT module. The same principle could be applied to reclaim agricultural land damaged by high salinity right here. The paper suggests potential for reclaiming vast areas, maybe impacting up to 40% of Earth's salt-affected farmland.
40%, that's huge.
It is. And think about vertical farming, which is growing rapidly. That acetate-based nutrition, the dark farming concept, could drastically cut energy costs. Remember the 90% energy saving versus LEDs? That can make vertical farms much more economically viable.
And the water recycling.
The biodesalination using Cenococcus and basalt beds. That could potentially lead to 50% cost reductions compared to current desalination methods like reverse osmosis, especially for certain types of wastewater or brackish water. So yes, definite terrestrial
It
potential.
really flips the script, doesn't it? Solving problems for Mars actually gives us tools for Earth.
That's the exciting prospect.
So this whole deep dive into SART leaves us with a pretty powerful thought, I think. If this kind of biological innovation and clever engineering can potentially make thriving agriculture possible by farming because of Mars, literally turning its poisons and sparse resources into food and oxygen, what other challenges here on Earth that seem insurmountable? Things like desertification, water scarcity, pollution remediation. Could we revolutionize them if we adopted this because of mindset instead of always feeling like we're working despite the problem?
That's the really provocative question, isn't it? How can we learn to work with our planet's challenges, leveraging natural or engineered biological processes, instead of just fighting against them? Maybe Mars is teaching us something profound about Earth.